Hi everybody. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and try and do this as quick as I can. I had another dream I wanted to share with you. I have a couple of scriptures I want to share first. Revelation chapter 17, verse 1. One of the 7 angels who had poured out 7 bowls came over and spoke to me. Come with me, he said, and I will show you the judgment that is going to come on the great prostitute who sits on many waters. The rulers of the world have had immoral relations with her, and the people who belong to this world have been made drunk by the wine of her immorality. So the angel took me in spirit into the wilderness, and there I saw the woman sitting on a scarlet beast that had 7 heads and 10 horns, written all over with blasphemies against God. The woman wore purple and scarlet, clothed in beautiful jewelry made of gold and precious gems and pearls. She held in her hand a gold goblet full of obscenities, and with the impurities of her immorality. A mysterious name was written on her forehead, Babylon the Great, mother of all prostitutes and obscenities in the world. I could see that she was drunk with the blood of God's holy people, who were witnesses for Jesus. I stared at her completely amazed. Jumping to verse 15. And the angel said to me, the waters where the prostitute is sitting represents masses of people of every nation and language. The scarlet beast and his 10 horns, which represents 10 kings who will reign with him, all hate the prostitute. They will strip her naked, eat her flesh, and burn her remains with fire. For God has put a plan into their minds, a plan that will carry out his purposes. They will mutually agree to give their authority to the scarlet beast so that the words of God will be fulfilled. And this woman you saw in your vision represents the great city that rules over the kings of the earth. Okay, and then Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12 says, For we are not fighting against people made of flesh and blood, but against the evil rulers and authorities of the unseen world, against those mighty powers of darkness who rule this world, and against wicked spirits in heavenly realms. And then finally, Matthew 18, verse 6. But if you cause one of these little ones who trusts in me to fall into sin, it would be better for you to have a large millstone tied around your neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea. Okay, so I had a dream that I was in a beauty salon, and I was in the back room, and I was talking to some women that were working there, and I was sharing with them my testimony, and I was telling them about Jesus. And from the front room, I hear a woman yell, "Stop! Don't talk about that blank," she said in obscenity. And I walked into the front room to see who had yelled that, and I see this woman, and I'm just shocked by her appearance. She had shiny black hair, heavy makeup, bright red lipstick, bright red nails, red and black vinyl clothing, high red shiny heels. And I was going to ask her why she yelled at me, and I look, and sitting in her chair is my daughter. And my daughter has really long, pretty, curly hair. And in my dream, she had very, very short hair, bald patches, all thinned out. And the expression on her face was just sadness and confusion and just bewilderment. And I looked at the back, and it was just as bad. And I was in shock. And I was angry. And I started to ask her, why did you do that to my daughter? And she's trying to make up excuses like, well, she's just too young to handle that kind of hair. It's unnecessary. She doesn't need that kind of hair. And I was just in shock. And I look at the walls, and I'm looking for certification because I knew this woman was in charge of this place. And I'm looking around to find out who she is, to see if she's the owner or what her qualifications were to run this place. And I don't see any certification. And when I ask her about it, she walks into the back room and totally ignores me. And I follow her. And I said, okay, fine, what is your name? She refuses to tell me. And I said, I want to see your driver's license right now. And she just kind of flippantly rummages through her purse and just claims that it's lost and she can't find it. And I told her, I'm going to call the police and let them know that you're running this hair salon without the proper qualifications. And she ignored me and walked back into the front of the room. And I was so angry with her, I jumped on her back, and I'm trying to stop her, and I'm pulling at her hair, pulling at her face, and she's not even reacting to me. And she kind of shrugs me off, and I step back, and she heads towards the front of the salon. And I don't want her to get away, and so I grab my daughter and I run through the front doors out the front of the salon, and my husband, is waiting right there and takes my daughter from me. And I know that he knows what happened, and I said, she's going to get away. And then I see this man standing there in a long brown trench coat. I can only see the back of him with a hat, and there's an older car off to the side. And she says, "Come on, Dad, let's get in." And then they leave, and they drive out on, it's like kind of a cool day. The pavement looks wet and black, the trees look black, and the leaves were orange. And I woke up. So this is the interpretation. Basically, a salon or a bathroom, someplace like that, is where you are being cleansed or you're taking care of the body. And that can represent the church, and in the stream it did. My daughter represents not the building, but the church itself, like a little child. And she's there to be taken care of, and this is what happens to her. This woman represents Mystery Babylon, the harlot, Jezebel, the spirit of Jezebel. She represents false religions, false teaching, not biblical doctrine, such as like the prosperity and just your purpose-driven life. Not really talking about the sin, not talking about the heart of the matter. People are sitting in churches today and not hearing, you're a sinner, you need Jesus Christ in your heart to change you, to cleanse you, and that He is the way, the truth, and the life, and the only way to the Father is through Him. If you're sitting in church and that isn't your goal, I think you're wasting everybody's time. If you're really there because you want to know the Lord and you want to go to heaven, you've got to read the Word. You've got to know the Word, and you've got to know when you're not being told the whole truth. And the certification was, she was not qualified to be there and to be teaching that, and because she didn't know the Word. And her not wanting to share with me her identity is because right now, what's going on in churches and in governments and the rulers of this world, it's very secret. It's being held back. This harlot is going to help bring in this new world order and the beast into power, and the beast is going to let her, because he's going to use some of these pastors that are going to compromise and already are compromising. I think the Catholic Church, a lot of the things that were going on, that all these doctrines are all of a sudden changing, which they were men's doctrines somewhat, but some of them are biblical, and here they are, and they're stripping them away from the church because they're unnecessary, outdated. Basically, this child or the church can't handle it. And what's interesting is this, when she says, "Come on, Dad, let's go," this represents the beast. And the car is the ministry that's coming. And colors and dreams, the black means death, and the orange means danger. It's not necessarily it's going to happen in the fall. I don't know. Maybe it is. I mean, it could be literal. It may not be. I don't know. But that was the interpretation of this dream. And God is just saying, if you're in a church that is not teaching the Word, and you're not hearing it all, and they're not talking about end times, and they're not talking about the rapture, a lot of people are getting flack right now for speaking of the pre-trib rapture, because Satan doesn't want people to have that hope or that promise. And we're specifically told by Paul to encourage and comfort one another with these words, and to warn. I'm a watcher on the wall. It's my job to warn you. If you're in an unbiblical church, you need to find one that is biblically based. You need to read the Word for yourself. You need to know it. God says, "My people perish for lack of knowledge." And I had received my first Bible at the age of 9. And I'm one of those kids where I would read the first chapter and the last chapter, and if I liked them, I would read the rest. I read Genesis first and Revelation next, and I was 9. Now, no, did I understand it? No. But I realized God had secrets to share with me, and that sparked something in me at 9. So ask God to reveal it. The Holy Spirit will teach you. Read the Word. John is a great place to start, but you know, you can start reading in the Old Testament, and then when you go into the New Testament, you see that they're paralleled. You realize they're talking about the same thing. And it's the Old Covenant and the New Covenant, but they're hand in hand. So, as you can tell, I have a love and a passion for the Word, and there's not enough time in the day to learn, but I try. And I just encourage you just to pray, seek the Lord, get your heart right. And I just really thank you so much for listening, and God bless to all of you. All right, bye-bye.